So you started with basketball hoops and stained glass.
Mhm.
How has it migrated into trophies? What does that timeline look like?
Um, I'll try to condense it, but basically, we had some early successes just creating these art pieces, and we had um, a lot of fun time, like with some of the collectors that grabbed them and things like that. And I had this moment, this kind of existential moment after a kind of a bad experience with the gallery, and I just kind of ran out to Palm Springs just to clear my head and try to make a plan for a destination. Um, because I felt like I was kind of doing stuff and I was having fun with it, but I didn't know where it was going, and I didn't have any. There was a lot of energy, but I didn't know where to direct it. So I wanted to have something to work towards, and I kind of just sat out there for a couple days and just thought about what the bigger story I was trying to tell was. And it was really about the opportunity for evolution and growth and sort of elevation of an experience. And that's a very straight line towards thinking about trophies. I think basketball and sport is really the only clean meritocracy that exists in the world, where I can't network my way to the championship and I can't finesse my way into holding the Larry O'Brien trophy. I just need to be better than the other guy. And that's very pure in this way that I think is what makes it so fun to root for sports, is because it makes sense. There's no real nuance to it. It's a very deep, X's and O's, you can get into all that stuff. But I think fundamentally sport is very clean in that way. And then the object that's meant to celebrate that's meant to be the final piece of a lifelong journey that these athletes have been pursuing, should be as thoughtful and innovative and creative as the people that are pursuing it. So I kind of like put all those pieces together and just thinking that the trophy as sort of a totem for accomplishment and celebration of that journey and the dedication, everything that goes into that, deserves to be better across the board. This is not just related to basketball, but just, I think in a lot of ways, the actual object that's representing that moment is almost an afterthought, or had been. And I really got excited about that as an opportunity, because there were also a lot of things too, where it's like, there's kind of no rules with what a trophy has to be,
Right.
which is kind of fun. And there's a lot of like tradition in it, and there's a lot of history, and like be able to like physically encapsulate and symbolize the moment of like getting to the mountaintop with some object felt really special. So it was just on my mind. I just kind of was like, that would be an interesting final chapter for what I'm doing. That would be like an interesting destination to work towards. And not long after that, a woman called Mary O'Loughlin from the NBA reached out to me, and she had just been seeing what I was doing. And she was like, would you be interested in working with us on stuff, just like in general? Of course, like that was a dream come true. And we had a few calls, and I was in New York. We had a meeting, and the first meeting I was like, who's in charge of the trophies? And she was like, slow down. We're just getting started here, but let's keep it in mind. So throughout the next couple of years, we did a couple of things together. And towards the back of 2019, the G League was going through a big rebrand. And they were like, hey, there's some interest internally about the G League getting a new set of trophies. I'm going to put you up for it. And she put me up for it, and she connected me with this guy over there called Christopher Arena, who is the head of on-court brand partnerships. And he has been with the league now for, I think, 30 years and has seen it all. And he's a brilliant guy, loves the game, like super historian, knowledgeable about everything. And his partner on that particular project was a guy called Tawan Watson. And we just set off on G League trophies. And the G League is very interesting Sorry, I'm just kind of running into this. If there's
No, please. Yeah.
jump in if we want to structure it a little bit more. But the G League was going through this interesting moment where they were like recontextualizing themselves in a way to try to build some more story around the league and more branding around the league in a way that I thought was really cool. And the G League was a perfect, I mean, as you know, the G League is like where the NBA experiments with a lot of rule changes and shot clock stuff and this and that. So it's like it's not only a place for teams to develop their talent, but it's also for the league to develop its practices. So it was very poetic that we took on that challenge first, and we spent most of the crazy 2020 lockdown working on the set of trophies for that project. And it was an incredible collaboration because for everything you might think about the kind of corporate bureaucracy infrastructure of the NBA, I think Christopher and Tawan really empowered me to be like, this can be whatever. And some of those early conversations were like, there's no rules of what a trophy is, which is to their credit, an amazing perspective and stance to have for a collaboration like that. They were kind of like, we've seen what you do, we love it. They kind of deferred to my expertise and the world that I've been building, and they were just like, let's just see what happens.
Well, the funny thing is now you've raised the bar, but before that, it was just, for the majority of trophies, it was just a stand and something. Like there wasn't anything, significant.